and the red lines that we would stick to and the red lines that we would go back to if this government signs us up to a bad deal.
But the Conservatives have also already been calling this a surrender. I mean, is it a serious approach to be saying that publicly when, as you've just admitted, you don't know what's going to be in the deal?
So we've had a number of debates in the Commons, Laura, which I'm sure you follow very closely, where I've asked Nick Thomas-Symonds and other ministers to rule out dynamic alignment. Now, dynamic alignment is, as you were just touching on, a very, very important issue, because if you sign up to it, it means that you have to agree to all future EU regulation in the area of probably food and trade. And that means that the UK becomes a rule taker. And that was one of the things that we specifically left behind when we left the EU. When we went through the whole Brexit process, one of the things that we got out of it was that the UK could set its own regulation and chart its own course. And so because the government hasn't ruled that out, we have to assume that it's very firmly on the table and that it's about to happen. And if that is about to happen, then that is a surrender of some of Britain's sovereignty, and we won't stand for it.
But if you're watching at home and you've bored with hearing about Brexit and frustrated by the fact that politicians of all stripes made such a mess of it, what's so wrong about doing something that might bring food prices down at the supermarkets or stop food sitting rotting in a lorry because it's stuck outside a port for 8 hours?
Just as a long-term principle, the idea that if you're going to be a sovereign country, you find suddenly that you can't set your own rules ever again, and that you are obliged to follow the rules set by another power, that is just something that I think will sit very uncomfortably with people, regardless of what their original views on Brexit were. When we were in the EU, we were able to be part of the negotiations about what regulations were. We've now left the EU. We're not in that room. And so to agree to whatever that room comes up with strikes me as incredibly short-sighted.
But isn't that